for work?
I'm mechanical engineer.
Okay. So you work in Germany, I'm guessing?
Yes. So I work for General Motors. It's a sister company, Opel.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's my question. How much money do you have to support yourself while you're going to be in the United States?
So I will be in the United States less than 2 months.
Right. So once again, I'm asking you a question.
Yeah.
How much money do you have to support yourself while you're in the United States?
How much money I will
You are
need?
being stopped at the border. These simple phrases will save you. Border officer. Where are you coming from today? Traveler. Just visiting some friends. Officer. Which friends? Just people I know. Officer. Pull over to secondary inspection. And just like that, the encounter changes. Not because of drugs, not because of weapons, not because the traveler committed a crime, but because the officer heard uncertainty. At a border crossing, airport customs checkpoint, or immigration inspection, there is one decision point that determines whether the encounter stays routine or becomes a much longer investigation. Most people miss it completely. Today, you'll learn the exact phrase that prevents many travelers from turning a simple inspection into an extended interrogation. Most people don't know their rights until it's too late. If you want to stay one step ahead and never get caught off guard, hit subscribe now. And if this opened your eyes, share it with someone and tell me your thoughts in the comments.
It's okay, you can sit there. Just, okay. Can you pull on your phone how much money you have in your account?
Sorry?
Can you show me that you have money in your account?
The trap. The trap is not what most people think. It isn't refusing to answer. It isn't being rude. It isn't arguing about your rights. The trap is talking too much. Most travelers believe that if they keep explaining, keep adding details, and keep filling silence, they'll appear cooperative. In reality, every additional sentence creates more opportunities for follow-up questions. Officer. What is the purpose of your trip? Traveler. Well, I came to visit my cousin, but I might also meet some friends and maybe look at a few properties while I'm here. Now the officer has 3 separate topics to investigate: the cousin, the friends, the properties. One question just became 10 questions. That's how routine inspections become lengthy inspections. Most people create their own problems without realizing it. Why officers ask it? To understand this, you need to understand the officer's objective. At a border crossing, officers are trying to verify information. They're looking for consistency. They're comparing your documents, your travel history, your answers, your behavior. If something doesn't match, they investigate further. That's their job. So when travelers provide long, complicated answers, officers often begin looking for details that don't line up. Officer. How long are you staying? Traveler. Probably a week, maybe 10 days. Depends on what happens. Immediately, uncertainty appears. Now the officer wants clarification. The more uncertainty, the more questions. The more questions, the longer the encounter. The decision point. Here is the exact moment everything changes. The officer asks a simple question. Officer, what is the purpose of your trip? At that moment, most people make a critical mistake. Wrong response. Traveler. Well, it's kind of a mix of things. I'm visiting family, maybe doing some sightseeing, and I might look into a few business opportunities. Officer. What business opportunities? Traveler. Nothing specific. Officer. What family? Traveler. My cousin. Officer. Where does he live? Now the encounter has expanded. The officer has multiple avenues to explore. The inspection just got longer. Correct response. Officer, what is the purpose of your trip? Traveler, I'm visiting family for 1 week. That's it. Simple, direct, accurate, nothing extra. Officer, how long? 1 week. Officer, where? Toronto. Clear, consistent, easy to verify. The encounter keeps moving. That's the decision point, the moment when most travelers either begin an investigation or avoid one. The exact response. This is the phrase to remember. I'll answer your questions briefly and accurately.
I'll answer
That's
your
it.
questions briefly
Repeat it.
and accurately. This phrase accomplishes three things. First, it signals cooperation. Second, it signals confidence. Third, it reminds you not to volunteer unnecessary information. Remember, I'll answer your questions briefly and accurately. Not aggressively, not sarcastically, just calmly, professionally, briefly, and accurately. What happens next? Many officers will continue asking questions. That's normal. The goal isn't to stop questions. The goal is to avoid creating new ones. Officer: Who are you visiting? Traveler: My cousin. Officer: Where does he live? Traveler: Mississauga. Officer: What does he do? Traveler: I'm not sure. Notice what didn't happen. No guessing, no speculation, no long stories, just direct answers. Sometimes officers push further. Officer: Anything else you're planning to do while you're here? Many people panic and start rambling. Instead, traveler: Mainly visiting family. Short, accurate, done. The key is consistency. The officer is listening for contradictions. When your answers remain simple and consistent, there are fewer opportunities for misunderstandings. Pressure tactics people often fall for. Here's another common scenario. Officer: You seem nervous. Traveler: Well, I've never crossed before, and my cousin said something different about the trip, and I forgot exactly how many days I'm staying. Now the traveler is creating problems. A better response: Officer: You seem nervous. Traveler: I understand. I am here to visit family. Simple. Back to the purpose of the trip. Another example. Officer: Why didn't you mention that earlier? Traveler: That's the purpose of my trip. Short, direct, no extra explanations. Remember the phrase. I'll answer your questions briefly and accurately. Legal foundation. Legally, border inspections operate differently from ordinary traffic stops. Border officers generally have broader authority to ask questions related to admissibility, customs enforcement, and travel documentation. That's why arguing constitutional theories at the inspection booth is usually unproductive. The smarter approach is understanding the decision point. The issue isn't whether you can deliver a legal lecture. The issue is whether your answers create additional investigative avenues. Brief, truthful, and consistent responses generally give officers less reason to expand the encounter. That's the practical principle that matters. Conclusion. Let's put everything together. The trap is talking too much. The officer asks a routine question. Most travelers start explaining. Those explanations create more questions. More questions create more scrutiny. The decision point occurs the moment you're asked about the purpose of your trip. The wrong response is a long, complicated explanation. The right response is a short, accurate answer. And the phrase to remember is, I'll answer your questions briefly and accurately. Because at the border, the goal isn't to sound convincing. The goal is to remain clear, consistent, and factual. The smartest drivers aren't the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who recognize the decision point before the officer does.